Amazing.
Very much.
Thank you so much, Rob. Thank you, Steve and Biotech. I know that I have got a lot out of these presentations that I've been coming to, so I'm really happy to be able to give back today and share with you what's been going on in my little brain and how I've been using AI. So yeah, so thanks everyone for coming. Curious, who's here on a lunch break and might need to jet at 1 o'clock? Right on the dot. Okay, I know that happens, so feel free to do what you need to do. We usually roll into Q&A after, and I'll be around for that for a while more. Okay, so I'm going to share with you today my brain, how I came to this process, and as we're going through this, I really invite you to be thinking about how your brain works and what choices you might make when creating something like this, because we're all different, and I think anyone can learn how to build this. But the interesting thing is you can build it almost any way you want. So definitely don't do it my way, do it your way. So I'm going to try to unpack the thinking that went into this as we go. So here we go. So a few weeks ago, I was in a little cabin on Main Island, which is a place I go sometimes to unplug because I spend a lot of time on screens. And I actually didn't bring my laptop. And my partner, Ryan, he pulled out a deck of tarot cards. And I was like, oh, okay, that would be fun. And I said, all right, pull me a card. I want to know what's an archetype that's going to give me some insight into where I'm at in my career right now. So if anyone doesn't know tarot cards, they're like big picture archetypes of everything humans go through in situations, and yeah, key archetypes. So he pulls the card for me, and it was the Fool. This is kind of what it looks like. And I thought, okay, that feels very accurate right now for two reasons. One, I'm from the nonprofit sector. Oops, I bumped the mic. And I have been very interested for a long time in kind of getting into the tech sector, but it's not my background. So in 2022, I decided to go back to school and do an MBA. And that was the same time that we had generative AI coming on the scene, early, or 2023, those years. And so it's only then that I've sort of stepped into the tech world and trying to catch up and fill in the gaps in my knowledge. But I find myself putting myself out there in rooms where I don't speak the language and know nothing and have to ask lots of foolish questions and be okay with that. But that's also how you learn. The great thing about the Fool, though, is that we come with a beginner mind. And when you don't know what you don't know, anything is possible, I like to say. So that mindset is probably what brought me to the experimentation that I came to with this. So my background, 20 years in the nonprofit sector. I won't say too much about my background because you're going to understand a lot when we're we're going to demo my actual tools. And so you'll get some insights that way.
Folks, there are a couple more seats over on that side if anybody wants to sit down. Have to just get friendly with friends and neighbors up there to get over there, but bigger rooms. Yeah, that's fair.
Welcome. So for 15 years, I was an ED for small charities. And at the time, I was wearing, sometimes a dozen different hats. I was the HR department. I was the fund development department. I was project management. I was a coach to my employees. I was the graphic designer and the marketer, and basically learned how to have a generalist brain. So how many of you are wearing more than, say, 3 hats in your business right now? Okay, great. Yeah, so I'm as a person who had to learn how to develop a high level of competence in all these different areas. One of the things that I think is unique in that is that I know what the other person is doing. So transition to later in my career where I'm working for larger nonprofits and now I have a department. Well, I'm thinking, is that graphic design person going to really understand the task at hand? Because I'm used to being me who kind of knows everything, right? So I really think it's that generalist mindset that led me to create this the way that I did. Because I'm thinking about how all of the roles actually talk to each other. And it means that I can bring that high level of consistency and alignment to the work. Um, yeah. So with a advisory team, every team member, I expected them to be able to fully understand the big picture to help me best. And I wanted them to know me, how I actually work, know my business mission and my goals and my business plan, and to know each other as well. So that was my idea when I started playing around with this. So it was in 2024, and I was in the early stages of starting a business, and had been, I guess ChatGPT had recently released the ability to make custom GPTs, and that's when I got thinking about the gaps in my expertise and knowing that in my business I was just one person, hiring wasn't possible. And I just thought to myself, well, what if I could hire, different roles? If I could, what would they be? What gap would they fill and how would they relate to each other? So that's how I started playing around with my first custom GPT, just kind of not knowing what's possible. And so that's how my persona team was born. I call it a persona team, and I also call it an advisory team. So if you hear both, that's what's going on. Yeah, basically, I knew what I wanted to create, and I didn't know what the limitations were, so I just kind of tried everything. I did also understand that at the time we had agents that were coming. So I kind of kept my eye on that news to get a sense of what was ahead, to be able to build in such a way that would actually be useful to have these team members execute work in the future. And that's basically where I'm at now, stage 2. But we're going to touch on that for a couple minutes at the end. So what is an advisory team? I call it a cast of advisors, each with a defined role, a distinct voice, and a deep context about how your business runs. It's a system that knows you. And you can build it inside of a custom GPT or a Gemini Gem or a Claude project. I'm curious, who has built a custom tool on one of these platforms before? Okay, so most of you. Has anyone not built a custom tool before? Yeah, okay, great. I don't want to leave anyone behind. So if you want a behind the scenes look at what that actually looks like on the platform, we can look at that as well today. We're going to kind of go through a demo. So feel free to shout out. So one thing to know that this is definitely a thinking team and not a doing team. The doing is still yours, or it's an agent's. The advisory team is what helps you think better before you act. I'm sure there are many other ways to use it as well, but again, this is just how I created this. So they're not going to take action in the real world. They're not going to send emails on my behalf or book anything. Obviously, they're not a replacement for a real relationship. But for a small business owner who's trying to do more with less, it's been a phenomenal way to actually get a lot done. So these are some of the things that an advisory team can do that a regular chat can't do. So a named thinking partner for every part of your business, each with a distinct voice and point of view. They would have, you could bring forwards the same problem and get multiple lenses back. And the answers that you'll get back are genuinely different depending on who is responding. There's a sense of built-in productive friction where your personas won't always agree with each other. And that's the point. We learn from difference and we learn from, yeah, different points of view and different lenses. And that it knows your actual business, your offers, your goals, your constraints, your values. You won't get just a generic answer. You can ask the whole team at once, and you can see how the decision making ripples through the team across everything. The thing that I probably love the best is this one. You don't have to hold it all in your head. You can kind of have a day where maybe things are a little fuzzy and what am I doing right now? That's really helpful. And I just think it gives solo business owners a genuine kind of support system. And of course, it can grow as your business evolves too and change it. I'm changing mine all the time. So this is my team. Again, be thinking about what might make sense for you. So for me, I've got Milo, my brand designer, Vera, visibility strategist. I go to her when I'm needing some support creating posts, LinkedIn posts, or articles, and I want to make sure it's aligned with my full business. Ray helps me with my structuring my offers in such a way that matches my values and more. I've got Finn, my revenue strategist. Cal's my coach, and he's trained in, what I actually need from a coach. I've got Nico, my sales partner. Hilo is my UX designer. Saul is my systems architect, just helping me, make sense of everything going on in the background. Got Justice, inclusive systems strategist. So she helps me when I'm creating trainings and things like that, making sure that I'm considering different learning styles, different neurodiversity ways of receiving information. And Nova, she's my queen. She does market research for me on what's happening in AI so that I can pull out the relevant information for my business to be able to work with it. Because we all know there's so much to read. So this is my team. I would say something that I know to be true about me is I have a tendency to overbuild, to overdo it. Do you need 10? No, maybe you need 4. Maybe these could be combined into different ones, but know that when I started this in 2024, I was just playing around and kind of going big. If I was to redo this, I don't think I would go this far. So let's have a little demo moment here. I've got some prompts, and I thought we could call in one of the team members. You can look at who they are and ask them a question. So I'm going to pull up my screen where we can do that. I started this in GPT, as you know, but in January, moved everything into Claude projects. So that's where this is sitting right now. But also, we've got the GPT platform, and then I built one in the Gemini platform as well. Same information, doesn't really matter where you work. But let's use Claude. So I've got a few examples, and I'm just going to copy and paste one in. Do any of these stand out to anybody? Can you see anyone have a preference? Strategic coach, okay. Okay, I'll go with that first one. And FYI, I haven't tried any of these prompts yet. Like, I don't know what it's going to say. So Cal, this is my coach. I have a speaking opportunity that would reach a big audience, but it's unpaid, and it will take 2 full days of prep. Should I take it? This is real life here. It's weighing the opportunity's reach against the time investment costs, as it should. Okay. Well, you can read it there. I'll read it here. Okay. So you can see how he's prompting me with more questions that are good for me to think about. Yeah. So for me, just skimming that, I can see that he's landed on some questions that actually really do make sense for me. And he's basing it on conversations we've previously had and what he knows to be true about me and how I work. So yeah, that's thank you, Cal. Thank you, Cal. Did anyone, so looking at that, did that feel different to you from a regular AI response? Like, what did you notice about it?
Vera.
Say again?
Vera was in one of the questions.
Vera?
Yeah, that's one of your.
You want me to try that one?
Well, I saw that it said it had a question about Vera might have input.
Oh, Vera might have input. I glossed over that.
Yeah.
So
that's,
the
that's
team
what caught my
members
eye.
know each other. Yeah, and we'll advise on that. Yeah. Any other noticings? Yeah.
Do you have to prompt, like in your prompt, do you have to ask for all of the advisory team to come into that question? Because I would think that would be like a financial question too, like.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
thought. Yeah. For demo number 1, I thought we'd just call in one team member so you can get a sense of it.
Mhm.
Demo number 4 will be all of the team
Okay.
members, so
That's the
we'll
one
get
I
it.
would've
Yeah,
picked.
yeah. We'll get that. Yeah.
I noticed that you just mentioned Cal's name in the prompt and it was automatically directed presumably to that agent. How does that routing happen? It seems mystical.
Yeah, good question. I'll show you in here. Let me just make sure I see where we're going next. Okay, great. We're going to how it's built, so we're going to get there. Okay, if I don't, bring me back on track if I go elsewhere, okay? So I always like to say that the build doesn't start with a tool. It really starts with self-knowledge. So I want, again, for you to think about how your brain works, because the process of understanding how you best work and what you need is as important as the how to build this. So we've got 5 layers. And the first one is know your operating system. So again, before you name a single persona, understand how you actually work, know how you make decisions, what drains you versus energizes you, where do you consistently get stuck, what kind of advice do you actually take? Because what I found out when I started, and for me, all of this has been through many, many, many iterations to get it to where I want it today as a useful tool. But early conversations with GPT would be something like, it would give me advice. And I'd be like, yeah, that's advice for somebody else. That is not advice for me because that is not how I work. It doesn't fit me. So I had to, I really went deep in thinking through how I operate so I could teach it how to work with me to get the most out of it. Steve.
Quick question. Do you stop at the agent or the team member giving you something to think about, or do you go as far as asking it to recommend? Because there's a bit of a distinction there. Right? Give me something to think about, let me process the decision. Or do you ask it to say, okay, give me a direction forward? How far do you push that?
I do both.
You do both.
I mean, ultimately, I'm the decision maker as the human in this large loop. But yeah, sometimes I'll ask for a recommendation. And sometimes I'm just curious. Sometimes I'll ask interesting questions to just pull, simple questions to pull out from the team if there's complexity there, if they're really thinking. So, okay, one of the things for knowing your operating system, you can really nerd out on this as much as you want. So if you're somebody that enjoys, say, personality quizzes, things like that, you could go there. I mean, you want to give your, You could give it, say, your Myers-Briggs, if that's something that resonates with you. I ended up including one that's called Human Design. I didn't know much about it. I didn't think I liked it, but I actually did a quiz, not a quiz, a little more robust than a quiz. And what it gave back was that I was a projector, and it had excellent knowledge. Like it described how I actually work in my business very, very well. And so that was a useful document that I could upload to have the team understand. Yeah, so it's really built around how I work best, not just about what I need done. And I think that's the magic in this. So layer 2, mapping your functional gaps. So my recommendation here is like audit the last few months of your business. Where did you stall or avoid or maybe make poor decisions? Think about what roles does your work genuinely require, and where do you need more mentorship or support? And then thirdly, this part's really interesting too, and gives it a lot of depth, and that is to identify your real influences. So I think each persona, each team member can be grounded in a real thinker, like a real methodology or philosophy. So you could be thinking about, who thinks in a way that you want to learn from. Who would you want in the room for those hard decisions that you need to make? So I know for mine, I spent a long time actually researching experts in each of those fields that I was wanting team members for, because I didn't always know who my mentors were. I didn't have anyone, so I did like a deep dive into really getting a sense of what is the voice, what is the knowledge base that I want to have come forward. So then number 4, you're actually going to build the persona file. So what goes in? You can give them a name, a core role. You can give them a personality, a voice, how they respond, the real world inspiration, an archetype, maybe governing rules, some key reflection prompts that they ask you, scope boundaries, where to draw the line. And then 5th, really importantly, you need to give it your business context. So a persona without context is still a stranger. So it needs to know your business's mission and vision and values, your financials, your brand voice, how you work best, everything you've got about your business that makes sense to put in there. That's the content that will make this really come to life. I don't want to forget to show you on the inside what that might look like. So if I go back here, you can see that these are the files that I've uploaded. So I've got my persona team here. This is where I have all the named team members that I've shown you. And then these are all various documents that I want it to know about me. So we'll get more into that, but that's just what it looks like in the background. Oh, open. Oh, this is actually a memo for me. We're going to actually look at what's in here. So this is where, oh, I'm sorry. We have a question.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, listening, sorry for being a little late. It was a human mistake. But I was just thinking, if you started this in 2024, you're probably one of the very few people that have built this type of team. And, you obviously have a lot of business background. And I started out thinking, was one of them a toxic narcissist and another person, this type of thing. But then I realized many years ago, I was involved in the creation of a system based on UBC research for psychologically profiling employees. And so I'm just wondering if after these 2 years, let's say, have you sat down and done a performance report for your collective agents?
Such a good idea.
I'd love to.
No, I haven't.
I'd love to follow up with you.
Yeah.
It'd be a great exercise.
Awesome.
I'm
Amazing.
dying to know.
Yeah, amazing idea. Thank you for that. Cool. So this is a little peek behind the scenes. My brain, I keep everything in Notion, and so this is my page. I just kind of wanted to show you the kinds of files and documents that I'm gathering, that I'm putting in there. So my original one that I made on GPT. That's these ones. I've since moved over to Claude, and I work a little bit differently in Claude. But with my advisory team, I started out with a vision knowledge document. So my vision, mission, my theory of change, mission pillars, core values. Oh man, this part, yeah. I went overboard, I would say. There's a lot in here. I think we don't need to do a deep dive into that one. Unique selling proposition. This is probably really a good thing for any, business to have, for it to understand this context. So your brand, what are your differentiators as your brand? For me, I teach AI governance for the nonprofit sector. So I have a lot of that information in here. What else we got? And then the meta structure summary was like how all the different pieces all work together. But then, okay, so this is what I wanted to show you. So this is actually the persona team. So here's where I write about each of them. And I wanted to give you a sense of like what's actually inside. Is anyone calling to you to want to know about? What? Okay, the strategic coach. Yeah, I mean, this one's a little more personal because it's like trained in how to work with me. I'm just going to give you a little skim read here. A lot of them have collaborative interfaces, so how they work with each other. You don't need to get that technical off the bat at all. It's just that over time working with it, once it knows me and how I'm working, I can actually prompt the AI, of course, to help me make those connections, and we can work on those next levels of document together.
So did you come up with kind of the instructions for each of the agents?
Yeah.
Or I was just thinking kind of as you were mentioning the personality test.
Yeah.
Because it does just really reflect you, or maybe be an interesting idea to take, to try and get outside of yourself, or you almost take like these, a personality test or that they have for a revenue strategist for these different roles, and throw that in to kind of really challenge you as well.
Yeah, I mean, and the idea is that with each of these personas, they all have their own personality, which is very different from mine. So that whole part of understanding how you work is the documents that would go in. So let me just show you visually here. How Sarah's brain works is a particular file, which is very different from the personas team over here. This has got all of them in there. And yeah.
Just to build on that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a contrarian? In other words, somebody who doesn't think
Yeah.
and understand the way you think.
Well,
The challenge.
yeah. So one of the things that I built in was I didn't give a particular team member that, because I wanted them to all to have a particular task that they would do. I didn't want to just make a random grumpy guy, but I did create, I did create a sparring layer at one point. Yeah. And so basically now I don't need a full document for sparring layer, but I can have it activated when I present an idea, and I don't just want their,
Maybe you could refer to that there as Steve.
I can add Steve. I can. Anyway, I just wanted to show you some of the pieces that are in each of them here. So Vera, she's helping me with my visibility, and so this is her purpose. I can go into her personality. I can say who she's inspired by. We got an archetype blend in there. Voice style, and this is fun. I mean, you don't have to go this far, but voice style is like, how do I want her to show up in conversation, right? So if I'm having a team meeting, her personality is distinct. This is an example of nerding out. you don't have to do this. And when these transfer into agents who are actually executing tasks, that matters very little. You just need them to get the job done well. But for the sake of experimentation and learning what the tools can do, for me, this was a great way to kind of understand generative AI and what was possible. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's go. Let's carry on. Where are we? Over here.
I have a question.
Yes.
I noticed you've given them like gender identities. You refer to them as him or her. Do
I
they
have a-
actually know if they
I
are
have a
like
they. Ray is a they.
phrase and they? Okay, so
Okay, yeah,
combination.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was your question?
Do they like know that? Like, are you actually putting that like you're a they, he or she in there? I'm just curious.
Oh, I don't think I named pronouns, but they have figured it out.
They figured it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
They all seem to know that Ray is a they. They don't misgender Ray.
Oh, we'll actually refer to
Yeah.
them as
Yeah, but I never told them to do that. Interesting. I never really thought about that before.
there's a whole like thought experiment.
Yeah, there totally is. Okay, how to build yours. So we're going to jump right in with a process that you can use today to get started. So I want you to we're just going to take a couple minutes here. And I want you to think of one role that you wish that you had in your business right now. So one gap. And I'm just going to give you some prompts to help you think about this. So perhaps, what's the thing you keep putting off because it's not your strength? No, I just want you to do deep thoughts, people, deep thoughts. Yeah. What is a function of a healthy business that you just don't have covered? If you could hire one person tomorrow, what would their job be? You could think about, where does the work pile up or stall for you? The thing you keep putting off. What do you wish somebody else was handling? Okay, so I want to know, I'd love to hear from 2 or 3 people. Where do you get stuck? What comes to mind? Yes.
Sales.
Sales?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so market.
Say a little more.
Relations. I mean, business development, you know, handling all the sales pipeline, that's initiatives.
And what do you do?
Right, kind of relation, relation with people.
Relationships. So like communication support? Yeah.
Consistent social media posting.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else?
Like scheduling your time because you have so many different roles and trying to equally distribute them appropriately to move the business forward.
Totally. Yeah.
Filter and focus, like picking up on that scheduling. Like scheduling is easy. It's the number of voices all saying, I'm on fire, put me out. And getting them to say, okay, you need to burn. This is actually the thing. you do.
So like a decision-making matrix, kind of, that would filter
Not
out
even-
all the
The
noise?
decisions are generally easy. It's actually literally blocking noise.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
Noise
you get
canceling
right on.
headphones, baby. Yeah. Yeah.
Something that can filter that noise so that when I need to pay attention
Yeah.
to it, I can find it, but that it's not.
That's an interesting one. I don't automatically know how to build that, but that makes me think. Yes.
Keeping track on law changes and any regulation updates.
Oh my gosh, yes. Totally could do that. Yeah.
Usually.
Also, that would lend itself well to an agent.
Yeah.
A study question. What would you do if your team, one member stood up and said, don't do this? It's the wrong thing to do. It's a mistake. You're going to lose money. You're going to lose a customer base, or you're going to endanger your insurance because you're
Well,
close to the
yeah.
line in a regulatory issue.
I've tried out on my team asking some kind of dumb questions to see what the response would be, to make sure that they would keep me on track and not just, tell me I'm great and that my ideas are great, because that is not helpful. And they were pretty great about actually being like, I got to be honest with you, Sarah. That is not a great idea for this reason, and this reason. Really think about that. And we should call in other people on the team to give their, they were like ready to gang up. So you can build it that way.
I've got a commission for you right now, based on what the mayor of Vancouver just said
Okay.
in public.
Can you tell me that? Tell me later?
No, he said he has 15 agents doing all his work for him.
Aha.
And when they said you were elected to be the mayor of the city, he said, oh no, that's my private business. So maybe you can put together a team and just start running Vancouver.
He also did say that humans make every decision.
Sure, sure. I won't interrupt again.
Oh, good. Oh, good. I got to remind myself where we're headed here. What time are we at? Okay, we're good. We're good for time. All right. I want to do something a little creative here with you. I think it would be really interesting to go through the process of how to get started. So you could actually go do this at home. One of the things I've learned with generative AI tools that I'm really understanding is that they are, because LLMs are, language models, chat-based, they work so well when we speak into them, right? So a long ramble is more useful than a beautifully written text on your screen. So if you think about, that person that you would like to hire, some of the ones that were named, and I actually would love to invite somebody to come up here and I'll give you the prompts and we're actually going to talk it into the microphone and we can choose one of these tools. And just to give you a sense of what a first iteration would look like and what to do with it next. So you would speak the gap directly into the tool using the audio function. Ramble, we can take a few minutes. Describe, we're not going to edit it. And then the AI is going to build its first draft of a persona from what you say. We want to get the name and the role and the personality and the voice, inspirations, governing rules, reflection prompts. So that's my thought. And I think we could do it over here. I think we should do it in ChatGPT because I don't really use it anymore, but I keep like the low list paid version and I brought it back to neutral. So I've removed all of my own, there's nothing customized in any of the instructions at all. So it's just set up like a blank slate right now. And what I would do is I put in a prompt. Okay, can you see that prompt? I'm just going to read it. We're in a live session right now. I'm presenting to a room of business owners about how to build an AI advisory persona team. Someone from the audience is about to use the audio recorder to describe a gap in their business, a role they wish they had, something they avoid, a function they're missing. When they finish, I want you to build them a full persona based on what they said. Include a name, core description, personality profile, a voice description, real-world thinkers, or disciplines this persona draws from, an archetype, governing rules, set of reflection prompts they would ask, and one-line mantra if one emerges. Make it specific to exactly what they describe, not generic, and this should feel like a real person with a point of view and not a job description. I'm just going to send that off and see what it says. Great, so it understands the task. Okay, who's excited? Who wants to come up here and ramble to a room full of friends?
Is it a paid version?
It is a paid version.
And they still show you ads?
You're right. So okay, let's talk about that for a sec. Really good point. I always use paid tools in my work, but because I don't use ChatGPT anymore, I downgraded to the lowest paid version from Pro to Go. Are we good with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know, it's annoying. They just started.
I don't mind being the first.
Would you?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your name?
My name's Eric.
Eric, yay. Let's give Eric a hand. Hey, for all. Okay. So, are you ready to ramble?
Always.
And like rambling is fine.
Okay.
Yeah, you
I'll try my
can
best.
as much as you want.
Okay.
We'll just talk through this. Yeah. We're gonna just do. Let's do that.
Okay, I am looking for a salesperson, someone that would be prepared to motivate me to go out of my comfort zone, to reach out and cold call people, which is very much against my personality. I think the person would have to be not too pushy, but definitely confident and help me to focus my energy on reaching out to people that are likely to convert to my business needs. And cold calling is one definitely, but motivation and being able to motivate me to go beyond what I'm comfortable with, I think is an important characteristic that this person would need to have. And someone that's brave enough to help me to identify when I'm doing something wrong and help me to kind of reach a better decision, but also sensitive enough that if I push back, that they're not going to like break the relationship by pushing me to change too quickly, but to keep on kind of challenging me to do more than I'm comfortable with iteratively over time. Rushing back to
Thanks, Eric. Really appreciate that. Appreciate you. Oh, named it. Okay. Elena. Calm, composed, observant, and emotionally precise. She will never say, just crush it. Cool. How's this landing for you so far?
It's a good starting point.
Yeah. It's given you some real world influences. You know, you might pick out the ones, with me, I might then research them and pick out the one or two that I feel actually are connected with.
Yeah, that's a good mix.
Governing rules, cool. Well, Eric, as thanks for this, I can send this to you. Okay, I'll leave it up. So that gives you a sense of what's possible, right? You see, we're right at the bottom. Okay, what's the mantra? Your business grows at the rate your courage becomes repeatable. Oh yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. So you would take something like this and then you would revise it and you would just keep revising it and you'd be like, oh, this feels good, but this doesn't, till you get it to that place where you're, really happy with it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I feel like you're showing us the instruments, but I seem to be missing the conductor, like the instructions that say, here's how all of these things should work whenever I ask a question or tell them something.
Yes, I am missing that. You're right. Didn't think about talking about that, but I will right now. I'm glad you brought it up. I think I could show you best over here. Okay, this is, where's Notion?
You mentioned Notion, but
Yeah.
I thought that builds agents.
Here's Notion. No, Notion is just like my second brain. It's just where I keep, it's like a database of all of my information where I keep things. So like this is my Notion work hub where I just keep all of my business stuff. And then I have a playbook here. There we go. So this is where the prompt is. So what you're asking about, I think, are the project instructions. So let's have a look at that, what that could look like. Again, you're going to do you, but these are the pieces. This would be like the conductor, the main custom instruction prompt that frames the whole thing and what it's trying to do. So you are the advisory support for me, founder of my business, what I do. It's got the mission anchor. I've got how the system works. It's also going to have the 10 lenses in here. And then I ask it to read before activating any personas. If I've called on one, it has to actually go in and read the specific persona document. I have something called team meeting mode in here. So when I say team meeting, and we can try this out, they come together and have conversations. So this is what you're asking about, I think. And the place where it goes inside the tools is, so in Claude, that's up here. So these are where you would put your custom instructions, right? Which is different from the files that you upload. In Gemini, is anyone using Gemini? Yeah, okay, so in Gemini, you know, it's, let's see, edit. They're all the same. It's here. It's the part that's instructions, different from your files. Yeah.
Would you be open to taking that that set of instructions, handing it to a language model, and having it identify conceptually what the structure is?
Yeah.
Because I think that would be something that people could really
Oh, like right now?
yeah, or before the meetings.
Yeah. Let's see if we can. Yes, let me wrap up. And that was a good like Q&A thing we could do. Totally. You had your hand up for a while.
Yeah, is Claude and Notion connected, or are you managing the sort of knowledge base in both places?
I just recently connected them.
Okay.
Yeah. Which means I'm basically taking a link to a page from Notion and giving it to Claude. So it knows exactly where to go in Notion, because Notion is like my databases are, there's a lot in there. Right. So it's just.
Okay, so you're not using like a connector within Claude to
It is a connector, but it's not as seamless as you might think. That I'm just limitations. Okay, yes.
How did you know, like, those instructions are incredibly detailed?
Yeah.
Is that all just you dreaming up what you needed to do?
Yeah,
You...
it is me going through it iteratively, saying this is what I need it to do, going through the steps, having it revise it, looking at it, seeing what's missing, going through it again, trying it out, seeing what's missing, going back. So it starts somewhere. It just needs to start somewhere. And then once you've started, the AI can certainly help you get as complicated or complex as you like, which isn't always better. I've definitely pared it back, which might seem surprising. Fair. Okay, so we're nearing the end here. I'd really like to show you what it looks like when we call in the whole team. So have some ideas of questions for us. And I'd like to kind of explore the capabilities. And this was going to be so much more interesting for you when you do this for yourself in your business. But I'm going to just give you a look at my behind the scenes here. So so these are some possible questions, or we can totally take one from the audience. I wanted you to get thinking about questions that would bring forward information that would be unique to the fact that it's a whole team.
Question one.
You want to do question one? Okay. So I'm gonna do this over here.
Although I also like the idea of each one of them forming performance review of each other.
Yeah. Or of me, or of me of them. Yeah.
I want to see them argue.
Yeah. Okay. We'll try that next. So what was my first one? Was it something feels off? Okay.
At every business all the time.
Yeah, it's an interesting question because it's very general. Yeah. Like something's off. I don't know. Like I should know more than that, but let's see what it'll do with it. I do like that Claude takes its time.
So where did you start from to get them all in there? In terms of the query, which project were you using?
Sorry, what do you mean?
I'm just wondering, having them all weighing in there, what did you do to pull them all in versus just using one of them?
Oh,
Are you addressing them directly? Right?
I say in the prompt, I want each of you to ask me one diagnostic question. So yeah, it's just right there in my prompt. But other questions, naturally different team members will come forward. Like often Vera and Milo work together because Vera is helping me with writing and Milo's my branding person. And so as soon as I want to turn that writing into a, you know, a post that's branded or something, then they talk to each other.
So are each of these personas different projects or are they all in one project?
They started in different projects when I was in GPT. They were 10 different files. But when I moved to Claude, they're all in one markdown document for Claude.
So you can put all 10
In a row.
personas in one, kind of like your beliefs and values and that document or your branding document. This is your advice.
Yes. Okay, let's pick another one. That was sort of interesting. I kind of want to try something over in GPT. I haven't used it for a while. Okay. I'm going to say something very simple like, lol, maybe. No, I think we'll just do a team meeting. Oh, I know. It's time for a coffee break. I want to know what everyone's chatting about on your coffee break and what kind of coffee you take or what alternate beverage you have and what you're thinking about right now. So that was super general, and I think I just X'd out of it. Cool. But I find super general questions can actually really give me insight into what's going on, what they know, and how much they know. Let's type it.
Sarah, based on that, you're saying less is more.
Yeah.
While you're typing, that is such a bad design on this. I've X'd out of things I've dictated so many times because it's just.
I'm not alone. Thanks, Lynn. Oh, yeah.
I got it.
Okay, I made it. I'm like, what are y'all chatting about? What are you having to drink? Okay, this should be fun. Cal is absolutely making tea instead of coffee. Oh my God, he's funny. This meeting could have been an email. Yeah.
Do they have live access to your ongoing business files? Like if you get a new client, you start putting that information in, can they see that so they know that? Or do you need to tell them separately?
Yeah, that's what I wish would happen. So one of my workarounds for that, I can come back to this if anyone's reading, but to answer that, one of the things I could do is give it my current context so it knows what's happening. So I've considered doing this. Maybe I would do it once a week or once a month or whatever, makes sense, where I'm actually giving it a snapshot of what's active in my life right now, making sure that it's caught up on what my current client projects are, what's in the pipeline, all these pieces. Now, I would give it this in audio. Maybe I'd get to the point where on a Monday morning, I'd be like, this is what's going on, and give it that. And so it knows where I'm at, but I'm going to have to keep giving it that information.
Have you got audio meetings where you have them all speaking audio?
No. That'd be cool. Yeah.
Kind of the opposite question of that, given that you have it linked up to Notion, how do you keep it focused on specific tasks? Because one of the problems I'm having is if I give it access to lots and lots of things, it tries to tie multiple things together. And are you finding, like, have you found that problem, or have you developed a strategy?
Yeah. I feel like the answer I have to think about, and it's a little more detailed, but if you have time to stay afternoon for the Q&A, we can remind me, we'll go back there. We're just about done, so I think I'm gonna wrap up, and then we can just flow into Q&A stuff. Anyway, hopefully you get a sense when you look at these. Nico's chatting with the barista. Ray brought tea because the cafe is pricing. So yeah, that's it. It's interesting. One more little piece I want to share with you is just as we move from this into working with agents, to just understand that the advisory team is the design layer and the agent is the execution layer. But the persona and the work of creating this is basically the agent's system prompt. Like maybe you don't need its personality quirks in there for a system prompt, but you've really already done the hard part. So for myself, I'm new to agents. I've made 3 so far. One of them is Nova, who goes and scans and gets information for me and brings it back. And how that's looking is she will put it in. I'm a visual learner, so I don't know. I just like to show you what I'm imagining in my brain, so you can kind of see it with me. I've set up the agent to read the news, and I was really specific with my prompt, and then she's dropping the news into this database, is rating it depending on various, curriculum that I set out of what's important and what's not important. And then I get to go in and read these, and it's happening once a week. I set it up on Sundays. And then from there, it hands over to Vera, who turns it into a post, a draft of a post. And then also there's a little, I connected Canva. So it's got like a little Canva like image to go with it. And so I can vet all these before I go and post them. So just to give you a sense of like where it can go next. Who's already working with agents? I bet a lot of you know way more than I do. Yeah, cool. And that brings us to the end. Thank you. Yeah, really appreciating everyone taking the time today. I hope you got something out of this and that you can use it in your own way, how your brain works. And my work is with nonprofits around governance and AI policy and AI adoption in general in an ethical way. So if anybody knows any nonprofits that need help, please connect me with them. And if anybody wants a closer look at this, and yeah, absolutely do reach out. I do work with businesses as well. And I think that's about it. Yeah, so let's go into questions.
Yeah, and I'd just like to say thank you, Sarah. That was great. I know I got some interesting context that I'm going to put to use this afternoon in a tool that I'm building right now. And I just wanted to say, I know it's 1 o'clock, so some folks have to leave. Don't feel sensitive if you've got to get up. If you're sticking around, help yourself to another coffee or whatever. And Sarah, if you're happy to stay up here and answer questions,
yeah, for sure.
We'll let it roll. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was wondering, because you have these character personas, have you ever tried to put them into Notebook, LM?
Yeah.
And then have the podcast?
Oh, no, I haven't tried that.
Yeah.
I've used Notebook LM, but not actually for my personas. That's a cool idea.
It's to see
Yeah.
the things sound like they was.
Oh, that would just be fun. Yeah. I feel like I don't have time for that experiment, but it's a fun one. Yeah.
Yeah, but in terms of like open stuff. So,
most important question I'd like to ask you about your business and your strategies today It was based on an article published recently by a noted Canadian author.
I can't hear you too well. Do you want to?
Oh,
I think if people want to gather for Q&A, maybe we could like come around here.
yeah, Cory Doctorow, which many people might know around here, wrote an article 2 days ago saying that AI is a bubble. And it's kind of a deceptive article because if you read through it, it doesn't seem like anything you're ready to sign on. But at the end, it makes a very good case for why that is going to happen. And he also makes an extremely important comments about intellectual property, which is what most of our businesses, I would say, are based on. And so what is your strategy if the bubble pops? Your agents, your advisors, your entire team suddenly went offline.
I don't have an answer for that. Maybe someone else in the room might have an answer for that. Yeah.
Have you utilized skills at all in your business?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
A little bit.
A little bit, yeah. Question the gentleman had over here, I think, looking at giving more help to prevent content.
Yeah.
Right now, because for instance, like, one of your agents will create your brand for a business or something, an investor, you know, they're in charge of their brand, whatever the branding is. But if you're having other agents that are writing a post or sending emails or sending whatever that still is calling that brand, every time it's sending a message to call on that brand, it's selling an LLM message, so a general prompt to that. So it's always going to be gathering a different, it's generally the same idea, but always different context. But if you're a new set of skills or create a custom skill, just ask your agents to do it. I think you'll have a lot more consistency in your workflows, and that also goes with the news gathering agents as well. Turning that just into a general skill.
Yeah.
A lot more consistency, and a way to do it would just be ask your agents, what are the general workflows that I do every day, and how can we make those into skills? And then that way you kind of have these great, beautiful notion. I wish I did that with my beautiful notion structures, but it'll be itemized even further. Then your agents will know when to utilize the, my brand is skill, and every time I start a new business or I have a new asset for a nonprofit I'm working with, it builds it up like this. I think you might discover a lot more.
Yeah, thank you. I need a lesson in that. So I'm new to working in Claude Code in the terminal, and so I'm building agents there and commands, and I barely know what I'm doing.
You don't do
managing.
It actually.
Okay.
And I would implore you to explore just the desktop app. And
Do you mean co-work?
you have your desktop app open right now?
Yeah.
It's a really easy section that
The skills section. Yeah.
Yeah,
I do know what you mean.
they have an incredible amount that you don't need to build your own. But the most important one is / create skill.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
/ creative skill.
And
Thank you.
That's from Claude, and give that to your agents.
Great. Ian, do you need to take? I know you had to jet. Do you need to take this? Because we're. Okay.
I do have one quick question.
Yeah.
Sorry. So when do you choose which platform to use between Gemini and Cloud?
Oh,
and the question
yeah.
before that is when did you decide to move from
Yeah.
ChatGPT?
I think there was a whole Viatech talk on
Okay.
how do you choose which platform, wasn't there, Rob?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a panel on that.
Yeah, but for you from a business perspective.
Yeah, I missed that panel. So I could learn from that myself.
Okay.
I pretty much choose Claude because I've just consistently found that its answers are better.
If
Yeah.
I can share a
Please,
quick
yeah.
word there, I've come to love Claude and use it for all business and technical stuff. But I still go back to ChatGPT for more lifestyle oriented stuff and Claude's much more critical and much more analytical, but ChatGPT seems to mesh better for landscaping questions and fitness stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. One of the ways I use Gemini would be the image maker. I have an image maker gem that I made there, and I will get my team, Milo on my team, to make me a prompt that I give to image maker, and then it executes it well. So that's.
I had an interesting, I was thinking about this last week. I tend to bounce between the big four.
Yeah.
And I was kind of
Like
comparing.
Copilot being the fourth that we didn't.
I like, no, the big four foundation models, Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, and Grok.
Oh, Grok. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Copilot.
And I kind of came up with this analogy that Claude is Jerry, ChatGPT is George, Gemini is Kramer, and Grok is. If you're a Seinfeld fan, it just maps
Okay.
really well with their personalities. But it's that insight that they kind of each have their different insights. And I was wondering about, have you ever taken your panel and spread it across multiple models?
You mean, have I done demos, the same question to each model?
Yeah, well, with your personas.
Yeah.
Do you like, I'm wondering if like Gemini would be more suited to more one aspect of your advisory panel. Claude might be more suited. That
Yeah.
kind of-
Have I tried spreading it out? Yeah, I see what you mean. I've thought about doing that, but I just
Yeah.
only have so much time for experimentation. And as you can see, I put a lot of experimentation time in this and
Yes.
try to give time to running my business now. But yeah, that
No,
would be
it's-
something to play around with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
thinking of asking this question and then you kind of commented, but do you find this is adding efficiencies for you or is it sort of a
Distractions?
Yeah, yeah, like you go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, it could go in the way of distractions. But at this point, it's absolutely adding efficiencies. But earlier on, I was using it as a tool to learn, right? It was just kind of like how I was learning how to use these tools was to go all in on a thing.
And now
So
you're feeling like it is.
yeah, now I barely go, I don't need to update it that much anymore. Yeah.
I'm curious with the multiple advisors in the one project, do you feel like there's a threshold where if they got too detailed, that there would be too much
Yeah.
context?
I feel like I'm on that edge right now. Like 10 seems like a lot.
And then, yeah, so.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think, yeah, if it's a really long prompt, is it really reading it? You know, that's why I have in the custom instruction, I have a brief write up of the personas as well. Because in some questions, it might just scan that
Yeah, I
first,
just wonder, 'cause
right, for how they
ease of
work.
Having it in one place, it would be awesome, but I've had that experience of getting too broad in a project and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden the quality of the.
Yeah, because it's not really paying attention to you anymore. It went to sleep, like it got bored. So I do try to keep it crisp. Well, now I do. You had a question there?
Thanks for the presentation. It was really inspiring. Maybe jumping off the back of that question a little bit, have you ever had to fire someone, you know, where your context maybe
No, but maybe once the performance reviews happen. I don't know.
Because it seems like the personas are relatively easy to be reproducible from scratch, seeing as they're just reading
Absolutely.
the work there. I'm just curious, if they've ever got like fixated on something in particular, you've had to kind of do a reset at all.
No, I just kept making it better.
Cool.
Yeah,
Great.
I didn't get to the point of firing. But I think what happens is that, you know, I'm 2 years later in my business, I may be doing different things than I originally was doing before.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm not using, there's a couple of them I don't use as much and my systems have changed. So I either need to update it or can it or figure out something else or.
And so I found in some of my conversations with Claude that it will kind of bounce between contexts that I don't want it to.
Yeah.
But certainly using some agents, it seems to avoid that situation a bit better. So
Okay.
that's really interesting.
Yeah,
Thanks.
cool. Yeah. Yeah.
Have you, one of the, like when the foundation labs changed their base models, I found my user experience dramatic.
Yeah.
Have you had that impact your personas?
Yes, there was a big upgrade. I guess it was between, I think, ChatGPT 4.5 and 5 or something like that. And the voices sounded really different. Yeah. I tried to change, I tried to adapt to it, but ultimately it was different. And so there was another big change, that image creation. And that was really frustrating because I have this like particular set of instructions for my image maker that matches my branding that I used for my website. And when it decided to do an upgrade and change it, then I was not able to bring back my original instructions, even though I had trained it actually on my artwork, like 20 different pieces. I got it to look at my artwork and analyze and recreate my style. And I had a whole style guide. It was awesome. So awesome. And then, no, it just decides that it really wants like very detailed line art and it looks like an architectural drawing, not like my watercolor style. So that was frustrating. And so these kinds of things are happening.
On
And
those lines, I'm wondering if you
roll with
used
it.
Nano Banana in the
Yes.
last few weeks.
Yes.
Because for us, got a bunch of gems in our client workflow and the quality went backwards.
Yep.
And ironically with ChatGPT, and this is like, I decided, no, we're gonna stay on one platform for our shared work stuff. And then, but now all of a sudden the ChatGPT's new image release is so good. It's
Yeah.
doing better images from simple prompts than Quad, or sorry, not Quad, Gemini is from fairly complex.
And this is where I was
custom
like
checks. And it's just
always
like,
experimenting totally. Like I know I've been hearing about it, but I haven't tried my image maker again on GPT since they've done the upgrade.
well, it's just so hard trying to, because I was gonna ask about that too, about having, like what you would do in a scenario where you're creating advisors for multiple clients. Like we have lots of small clients, and so we're implementing tools for each client, but just, and maybe, do you have any thoughts on how you would manage that if you had different flavors of them and how you would go about version control? Like if you had a similar instructions across multiple clients?
One of the things doing this work has taught me is to organize my freaking files really well. So that's a big part of it. And I really lean heavily on Notion and the AI functionality in Notion that can help me clean up my files and have different iterations of things. I mean, I think about GitHub and being able to, you know, just see the different versions and know which one you're on and have that tracking being super useful. Yeah, you'd have to, I don't have an answer, but definitely would have to be very mindful of how to set it up so you don't get lost in so much information. Yeah.
Yeah, well, ironically, this week we just decided on a standard client file structure so that all the files are always in the same place for all clients of a certain type. And I have it on my to-do list to do an automation to actually create the file structure and all the template files when we onboard a client. Which, but yeah, so now my brain's going like, how would we plug that into Quad?
I guess, I mean, from that sanity in my mind, I've found that what's been helpful is setting up just a really consistent file system amongst all the different spaces where I'm working. So like I have a set of 6 main files on Notion, and then I have, you know, those 6 main files on my desktop. And I have that same thing replicated in Google Drive. And because I'm a consultant and I work for different organizations, it's just like sometimes they're in the Microsoft ecosystem, sometimes they're in Google, like it's all over the map. But if I keep things consistent, that helps a lot.
Yeah, no, that's
and it filters into how I'm using the AI tools as well. So I don't think that's an answer to your question, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just
Yay,
thinking
file
about
management.
multiple team members and multiple clients and
Yeah.
having very, it's
Yeah. And I'm sure some of the information would apply to multiple clients. And then it's like, what's your backbone and what goes here and what? Yeah. It's a good systems problem to dig into.
And what you would want each of your clients to understand their goals with SEO or advertising, goals of their business. When you create a project for each new client through that onboarding, they have their whatever their goals, MD file, their project MD file, et cetera. And then the execution is with the agent or with skills to execute into these unique file systems for each one.
Nice.
Yeah, no, that's very much it. And then the optimization, prioritization thing, it has like, there's like 400 or 500 different elements to consider now. And
Yeah, wow.
Terrifying.
Cool. Yeah.
Basic set of questions again. So back to your project structure, you have a project for your advisory board. Do you, so you go to that project to ask your questions or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you have other projects, like let's say around an offer you're creating or something
Yeah.
like that?
Separate?
They access through, like, can you access that? Or do you have to go back into your advisory?
Oh, I'm kind of new to that functionality. I think you can. I feel like somebody else in the room could probably answer that, but let me pull it up and I'll show you what I'm thinking you're asking. If I was in Claude, could I pull up, here's skills. No, I think I'm thinking of co-work, where you can pull up another.
So on your project, if you went back to, I don't wanna like.
Yeah.
In your, if you're back on sort of main page, where you've got one of your projects there, if you're working on a separate project, you call in. Your
Like here, so this are all my projects.
Yeah, like if you're in grant writer.
Yeah.
Could you call in one of your agents to advise you on that, they go cross project.
No, I don't think you can.
No, but I get around that by using co-work. And then you can call in. And I mean, I don't know if GPT still has that functionality. They had it and took it away, where you could be in, I could be in one chat and then I could call in another information from another chat. I don't know where we've landed on that right now. Yeah.
Where your beautiful watercolor, where does that, do you get that out of, is that Claude generating that, or is that?
That would be, oh, I have two. So I've got an image maker here.
Yeah.
Looks like this. And this is the one that's trained on my watercolors. Yeah. And then I've got another one in Gemini, because it seems to be doing a better job, but now it's not, as you pointed out. And it's, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that answers anything, but a lot of fiddling. Yeah.
What are your costs like for running the system?
Sorry, say again?
What are the costs like for running the system, like your interactions with the models? Does it end up being fairly negligible, or does it end up being like hundreds?
Oh no, it's very, yeah. It's just like the regular Claude account, the individual, whatever it's called. What is it, like Claude Pro, 30 bucks a month or something?
Costs.
Yeah. I think my whole stack is under like $150 a month for many tools that are the paid version. So it's pretty awesome for what you get.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You had Canva attached to
Yes.
one of them. I've actually finally recently subscribed to Canva because of what I heard about the image generation and it now with AI, but I haven't even tried it. How's your experience been with Canva as AI?
Sort of meh. I'm not like a huge Canva user, but I do have my branding set up, a brand kit set up in Canva that it's supposed to pull from, but I need to play around with it more. Haven't had huge success. You love
I
it?
heard it's much better.
Okay, cool. I want to learn from you.
editing.
It's
I don't
been,
know if that's-
yeah, like it's, and this is kind of recently, this is, like, but I create online courses, and with a very simple instruction, like create an accompanying workbook, and it goes back to Canva, pull out my brand guidelines, my fonts, like.
Oh,
colors,
great.
everything. And then I just did a couple little tweaks on language, and then that was it, like it would have taken me weeks to do
Mhm.
that.
Awesome.
Yeah, do you not have a good oriented section in Canva? Because I tried playing, and I was like, this is whatever, but I think you're using Canva for a long time and
Yeah.
setting up a great brand style or whatever that is in Canva.
Yeah.
It's really awesome.
Where are we at? Cool. Well, I don't want to keep people. If you need to jet, by all means.
Thank you.
Super job.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm really curious about that.